Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Studio Nights. Today we are joined by Adriana Henry. Welcome.
Thank you.
So just to give our listeners a little bit of background, we met you through our IPAL 4 class. Yes, IPAL 4. Yes, with Professor Wang.
Yeah.
During last summer, right? So you're from when we're recording this?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So during that class, he had invited different professionals to come in and talk about their work. And Adriana was one of those guest speakers that really stood out to us.
Yep.
So we kind of want to start off with getting a little bit of background about you. So where you grew up, that kind of thing. And so I think you told us earlier that you were born and raised in South Florida.
Yes. Yeah. Born and raised in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. I, went to school at the University of Florida and grad school in Cornell. But, early on, I had no clue I wanted to do architecture. Really never passed my mind. In high school down in South Florida, I went to a very small technical trade school. And one of the trades, well, the trade I was very interested in was culinary. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And then we went to the open house, and my mom was very thoughtfully you're gonna be on your feet all day. It's gonna be long hours. It's gonna be a lot of work. You have to work a lot of holidays. And so I always have that passion still for that type of creativity and that kind of quick turnaround of serving someone, because architecture takes forever to be done. And so I still always have that love, but that conversation kind of strayed me in a different direction. And they had a drafting program in high school. And so that was the beginning of really getting my feet wet in the whole world of just basics of design, essentially. Yeah. So that's kind of how it started, but I never thought about it before. I feel like everyone has a Lego story. Everybody says something. But the only thing also I could make sense of was I would draw people's outfits when I was watching TV. Oh. And I always thought I'd be a fashion designer, but never architecture. So that just over time, it became little and little, hints at it. Oh, I really like this piece of it. I really like this piece of it. So here we are.
So did you always live in South Florida until you started doing, until you started college? Until you started UF?
Yes. I always lived in South Florida. I think a lot of my friends stayed in the area. I didn't really know about UF, to be honest with you. I thought I would go to the community college, Brad College. I did dual enrollment there. So I was I can knock this out. We're going to be done. So I never approached school this long-term, continuous thing. And then, I did. My parents they're really important in my life, caring for me, helping decide, big decisions together. And so we went up there, just did a tour of the University of Florida. And I was oh, this is a whole new world, the taste of freedom. Just I can start my own stuff on my own. So, I grew up there and everything, but I felt it was a big shift going from all my friends, and then really 2 or 3 people I know went to UF. So it felt really, really different. And it is really different, in every way.
So when you went to UF and toured and everything, did you already know you were going to go into architecture as your academic path?
Yeah, I still don't know how I'm in this field, because no. So what happened? I applied just generally, and I got in for engineering. So I always loved geometry. That's part of the high school story. Is geometry just made sense to me. I like the creativity element of shapes and playing with composition, but geometry was putting numbers to that. And it just clicked. So I think that reassured why I was in drafting, for example, and then maybe not culinary. I was not good at chemistry either. So, I got in for engineering, and we went to the preview, the kind of open house where they show you what you're going to be doing for the rest of the 4 years of the program. And, you know, it was a bunch of kids my age, and everyone was like very excited about testing concrete pressure. And I was like, oh, this is not it.
Yeah.
This is really, and just seeing the comparison of everyone else being like, yeah, this is awesome. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So that same day there was an architecture open house. Just so happened. And I, went into the School of Architecture, and they had the gallery, which you guys probably know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was open at the time, and there was models of like, you know, stick models and stuff, something I've never seen before. And we popped in, and a professor came and was like, "Do you guys want to tour?" He was just so kind and was like letting us in, and just, again, me and my mom. And he was explaining how those models were pieces of music that were turned into this beautiful model. And I was like, oh my gosh. So this is a major, like, this is what we do. And he wrote on a piece of sticky note, like a Post-it, and he said, go to this office and admissions in the architecture school. Tell them just change your major. Like, here's a piece of paper. Like, I didn't apply through a process. And then, you know, sure enough, I'm enrolled in architecture school.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, people are a really huge part of how I got to be where I am, and the little pushes and nudges along the way, and just people who care. I think that's a really important piece of it. Like, and I'm really grateful for that moment in time of all of that stuff happening, and everyone that was involved in that. Yeah, it's interesting because when I started architecture, I also started in engineering. Oh, really? But like barely, because I saw like the course requirements, and it was and I cannot with math, like
too much math.
It was too much like heavy math. You know, like when you get to calculus and like everything past that, it's like too much. It is.
I cannot do it. So I was like, no, this is not for me.
Yeah, and you would think we need more of it, more math. That's what everyone always said. Like, oh, you must have taken math.
No, exactly.
Somebody recently said that to me, and I was like, I think it was your brother.
No.
Somebody recently.
My brother knows.
Yeah, he knows. Somebody did. And I was like, we actually like barely do math.
Yeah.
Once you get into like, I think we only do math for your gen eds. And And then after that,
and like physics.
Yeah.
Physics. But other than that,
which was hard.
That was hard.
Yeah. Oh man. So we kind of want to hear about you going to Cornell as well for grad school. Yeah. And what kind of brought you there? What was your interest towards that school specifically? Okay. Yeah. So I think the little baby step from South Florida to Gainesville now feels like a baby step, but before it was a big step. And after getting a little bit outside of where I'm from and everything, I think I realized like, I don't know if I want to be limited to working only in Florida. And I felt like I got such a good education in just design thinking, and less, I knew I had challenges in like technology in general, like all the programs. And then I just wanted a global approach essentially to what I was learning, place-based. And I think I started to just reach out and see what programs offered something unique to me. And I was still figuring it out. Like, I didn't know what the heck I'm going to do. But I did start to feel like if I went to the same undergrad, I would have a lot of the same professors. So just wanted to see a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah.
Never thought I would have gotten into Cornell. I mean, like, who would have guessed that? I guess I applied to a few places, and I don't know, I really fell in love with the specificity that each person's work was really, really, really unique. And we had a lot of different professors who were from a lot of different places. And that's pretty much why I chose that over some of the other schools. And they had their own thesis. A lot of schools, you are assigned a thesis topic.
Really?
That's what I've heard, at least when I was, I know it sounds a little weird.
Yeah.
But like there's a professor who's like trying to write a book about something. So you might kind of help.
So like a research
workshop or so on. And the programs are so long in some of the grad schools. I was like, by the time I start and the time I end, I'm going to be interested in different things. Like, I wanted to leave some room for that. But I will say, like, there was kind of an in-between moment between undergrad and grad that I just felt like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like we all have that problem.
Yeah.
And it comes small and it comes big at different times. But the main one was, we are doing architecture. Why? Like, for people who can afford it, for specific cities, like, you know, who deserves architecture, really? And so I just like couldn't figure out the answer to that. And I heard a TED Talk kind of presented through a conference through AIAS by Michael Murphy, who was the founder of MASS. And he essentially, like, at the exact time I was thinking this, had sort of that answer. Not answer, but one answer. And his main sort of thesis statement of that presentation was, architecture can either heal or harm. And you have to take a position on sort of every decision you make going into a project, because you can really hurt a community that's been there and gentrify that area, or you can work with the community and figure out, well, what are your needs, and you know, work alongside and truly like give the piece that, you know, the layperson doesn't know how to do a drawing of a plan, but they know what they need. So that kind of made me really hone in on what I want to do. And so that sort of led me, that's also part of why I wanted to go to Cornell. I was like, maybe they'll notice me more. And so they did. And I think that part is miraculous, because during Cornell, COVID happened, and Caitlin Taylor and Michael Murphy were guest lecturers for one semester. Wow. And I would have not been able to be in that semester, but COVID made it so we could choose. And so that really aligned. And I was like, I got to do so good. And I had a partner project, and I was like, you have to do so good so you know this. And she was amazing. And so we actually both got an internship there and at MASS. Wow. And it was a really awesome way to learn. Yeah.
And MASS, just for our listeners who don't know, can you talk a little bit about that firm and where they're located?
Yes. So it's not Massachusetts. It's MASS is an acronym that stands for Model of Architecture Serving Society. And they are a nonprofit model, essentially started by funding from a Doctors Without Borders philanthropist named Paul Farmer. And he was someone that went to Harvard with Michael Murphy, and he was talking about this population in rural Rwanda that had no access to healthcare, basically. And so Michael Murphy was a student at the time of architecture and went to that lecture and was like, well, how can we help? So that started this project of bringing the needs closer to the community. And from there, people started to really like learn about that type of architecture. And now MASS has many different locations. And they have a food system lab, which is what I worked for. And there's healthcare lab. There's even a Native American specialty lab in New Mexico. So really just trying to live in the place and work with the people, and just have a really diverse set of architects who serve the needs of that place. So that's kind of the mission statement, and they're doing great work. Wow, yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that sounds really good. So it's like very research based, you would say?
Yeah,
okay.
It is research based, but it's research 50% and community engagement 50%.
Yeah.
So it's like,
wow, they live well, right?
Yeah.
In the community.
Like in my in the office I was working at, there was a what was his position called? An engagement specialist of some sort. Talon Davis, I'm going to name drop him because it's just, and he is from Poughkeepsie, which is the place in the Hudson Valley that the office was. And he knew, like, he went to the high school, he knew the people, he, and was the community. So his role, his job full time was to go to events and learn about what people's needs are and everything, what types of programs we should include in the project. Meanwhile, like me and my coworker Erin were researching. So like big picture, what are the statistics? Like what are the connections of food industries and farms and what population lives where, and like all these little, intangible things we're trying to draw out, and talent would just talk to people. So we brought that and sort of made that into tangible information, and we visualized it and paired it with the research. And then would present it back and be like, does this make sense? Is this jiving with you? Yeah. So like it really took a lot of different people. And it takes participation. Like people have to want to, people have to feel like they are trusted. Like you're not just another person who's just saying this and then their house gets demoed, which is what happened literally. Yeah. So, it takes time, and I don't know. I think over time I realized I love this work as a strategy, as a model, but I am not from this place. And that was really hard. Yeah. So I went like all the way over here in this part of the world and went all the way back and like, okay, we have the tools now. Let's try to do it here with people who, think like-mindedly. And there's, so many things that architecture can help solve in like any context. So I'm essentially still trying to figure out like what's needed here. And here in Florida and generally in the region.
So for your projects, like did they have like a project already set in place and then you guys would research the community, or was it like a project that would stem out of community questions, needs?
Good question. Yeah. So let me think about that. So the office started from a couple of different little small projects. There was a farm hub. There was a fall kill, like a stream of water that ran through that used to be really active and has now become a debris area. And I think over time, the community started to trust essentially the architecture firm, and gave more and more projects. So let's see, there was the biggest project that was there was called the U, which was the youth, the youth, YOU. Oh gosh. It was essentially an old YMCA that just got totally out of commission, but it was a huge hole in the community and it was left vacant for like 9 years. And we worked a lot to figure out what services were needed. And so it was a combination of things. It really was a complex web. And I had during the internship, one project was to make essentially a big size of this table, like 5x5, 3D printed model of the city. Oh, wow. And it was only like a 5-mile radius, and we had like 10 to 15 projects in that radius.
Oh, wow.
So it was just hyper local. And it was actually really helpful because when there was donors, they would do a walking tour and be like, this is where your money can go if you help support us in this nonprofit model. And that, was really helpful into getting more funding and keeping the research part going, like what you're saying, because that is hard to fund.
Yeah.
Really hard to fund.
Yeah.
But very important, too, to really understand what the community needs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, this is in what city?
Poughkeepsie, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
good question.
How far, I'm not good with geography. How far is that city from where Cornell is?
Okay. So, all right, everyone knows where New York City is.
Yes.
So it's right there in Manhattan. If you go straight up the Hudson River, there's the Hudson Valley, and Poughkeepsie is like 2 hours train ride from New York City.
Okay.
And then if you go west about 2 to 3 to 4 hours is Ithaca, which is Cornell.
Yes.
Okay. So there's like the Mohawk River and the Hudson River along, and those were part of the research. I only know that because I was some research I did about food systems and how we can connect them better. Because this region has amazing food culture. It has the Native American area. like some indigenous corn, like all this amazing stuff that just like no one knows about really.
Yeah.
And trying to bring that research back to the forefront. Yeah.
I never thought of I guess an architecture model that looks for specific areas or towns or villages that need help, and then creating that trust with the community. That's because then it literally answers your question of what is architecture for?
Exactly. But do you guys know anything like that here? Because that was a very difficult thing.
I remember you kind of mentioning this to us. I don't know if it was during my class or during when we talked to you previously, but what you said about trying to find that kind of impact here.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty amazing to see and to be around people that bring themselves out of something where you know that you probably really enjoyed doing. And I'm sure you had very successful projects as well that you were on, but applying that into a region that doesn't really have that going on. How do you start that?
That is my ongoing question. It is. And there are people 100% that like people are amazing here in Orlando and, many parts of Florida. But I don't know. I think the big picture vision is different. Like politics are different. Yeah, people don't want to talk about politics all the time, but they influence us heavily, heavily. Right now I work with school districts and they are just like directly funded by federal national funds. So there's absolutely no way around it. And, in school, I had a great professor, Lily Chi, who had a class that was about politics and architecture, and it was amazing and it was fun, but it's really not that fun in the real world. It's really not. So that's tough.
I did my thesis right now in my final year about the schools as well here in Florida. And I talked to a lot of people and everyone would tell me like, why are you even doing this thesis? Because here, there's no way your proposed school is going to fly or go. And I was like, well, why do I want to propose this in a place that already is going to be accepted? Why can't I challenge the existing system? And I think like through my research and through, there's a lot of stuff. I learned a lot. And then through there, I was like, okay, these are like the little areas that I could challenge, probably I cannot change the whole thing, but I can throw in something in there to like,
subvert the system.
But
I think it's scary when people say to not do something. Like, because that could change your whole course of what you're going to devote your time like fixing or helping, that scares me.
That's why we study too, though. Like we study so that we can try to figure out how to apply these things that you may not think can be applied. And a professor of mine said something to me about he juried for a class, and he told me one of the things that he asked the students presenting was, I said this to you the other day, are you designing, is your project to bring people here or for the people already here? Right?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And so I feel like this is something, you see these big developments happening. I mean, there's one about to happen right here next to the Amway or the Kia. Right. And it's like you're thinking about gentrification, which is a huge issue in a lot of places right now. And being in Orlando and Central Florida being such a fastly growing place. How can we still, impact the communities that already exist here as opposed to building against them and, creating a smaller and smaller and smaller boundary for them and almost shutting them out. Right.
That's so true. One exercise that was really helpful that, so it was Michael Murphy and Caitlin Taylor teaching, and she taught me so much I had no idea about. She's the one who ran the food systems lab. And she did an exercise called future casting. So it was essentially creating a timeline of the future. And it's like, if XYZ happens, then we are ready for this. So it's like, if this bill gets passed, if the funding becomes available, if whatever happens, the land, then we need to be ready for that future, like that option of the future. And that's where the school thinking comes in. That's where the thinking for like what happens to Orlando, like 4.0, you know, comes in. And then you're ready to start thinking about that stuff really, because you've had the framework like laid out. And then you can even, it helps you partner with people. Like, what are those things and how can we help make them happen?
Yeah.
You know? So that was really helpful, but also things take so much time.
Yes.
So much time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like better with people and in a lot of different industries too. Yeah. That's at least my experience in it. Yeah.
Through your research, I guess I'm wondering how you make the transition from all this research, like food systems and making all these connections, but then making that into an actual design. How do you think that works? Because like it's, for me, I think about like at school, we do this research and then we look into all these programs that could happen, but then designing it is almost like this other layer.
Yeah.
A little complicated.
Yeah. And that's the one that like pays the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a hard question. I think I was spoiled at Mass because we had a whole entity that was, you know, funded to do research, and it was so much fun. You know, it was we read a book called, I'm gonna forget also the name of the book, but we read a book that was about farm to table food, like, you know, from the soil to. There's so many words for that now. The concept of not wasting anything and using everything to its absolute potential. And we translated that into a metaphor for architecture. How can we make sure our materials are like fully being used, like almost like every part of the meat, you know, for the building. And that was a lot of the research for the Stone Barns project, which had straw bale and all sorts of uses of the tree to be the mulch for the path, or absolutely like using everything. And I think that client, because that was their vision, was so on board for like, yeah, let's do that for the building too. But then we ran into the code issues of, you know, the fire rating of a straw. Obviously, a straw wall is not going to be good. So that's going back again to how we need to help if there's a problem with testing agencies that they're not getting certified to be approved, to be on the building list, then how do we kind of give them, I don't know what they need, like marketing or the right resources or whatever it is. So I think that was the most imaginative project I've been on, because it was in a perfect world that would really help actually if we didn't waste any of the materials. But then if we think about the U project, which was essentially a community hub, that one, how do I explain this? We just had a lot of voices from the community, and you want to tell them all yes. But you know, like, yeah, we can have this and this and this and this. But the site, you know, has limitations. It's like, so that part's so hard. And I think at the time I was starting to like be in conflict with maybe we shouldn't say yes to everything. And I think now maybe I'm older, have a little bit more agency in the project, can really kind of appreciate when people say no, or just share where we're at. Like, we can't do this because the water table is right here, or we can't do this because, you know, whatever the case may be. So I think that experience made me feel like I never want to waste people's time and have them lose trust. And sharing the process with them is like the reverse of them sharing the process with us. So, and they understand it. Like, oh, well, great. We don't want it to flood. Cool. So I think I'm definitely still like learning that piece of it. How do we meet them where they are and have them understand the limitations, so we're not missing each other, and so we're actually working toward the same goal and not, you know, stop all over the place. and many iterations. Many iterations.
Yeah. No, thanks, Simon. I like that. It just goes back to your idea of like the community engagement. Like the whole point is if we have the community engaged and they know exactly what's going on, they're probably not going to push back, or they're not going to be mad if something doesn't go their way because they understand the ins and outs. For materiality, I'm not sure if you know this, but how would you guys like figure out what type of materials to use for that? Was it because it was in the area, or was it something that you guys were trying to explore?
Yeah. So a lot of the projects at Mass was exploration stage, trying to push the needle. And I think for that one, Stone Barns, for example, we did an analysis of the farm and figured out what types of straw you have, what types of beans you have, and what things can be put into the building in whatever form, And then we created like a big document of what we learned, and then we shared that back with the client. So in general, I think there's the concept of like open source information, like how much do we share with the client and also the world? And so that I think is the reason why a lot of the people who work at Mass are teachers too. So they are sharing it and they are challenging what we're learning and also like the future generation. So that is for like those really like we're not there yet materials. And so, that's a whole category in and of itself. And then in general, I would say for projects that are built, I think it's like just local materials. So there's a lot of barns in the area in the Hudson Valley because it is like a food culture heavy type place. And so we use a lot of reclaimed wood from barns. But then we learned the process of like a lot of wood from barns is being kind of, it's having a moment, I guess. So a lot of people want it. So the demand is high.
Interesting.
And so you're like, oh, no one wants this wood. That was, we're like, okay, now what do we use? And you also have to take the nails out. So there's just like, there's always something. It's never a easy, like one-to-one answer.
Right.
So we use some of reclaimed wood. We use some of, different, there was a lot of bricks in the area. What else? I think always the projects have a conversation with the nature around it. And in New York, there was a lot of seasonality and making sure like everything flowed on the site. So, I think that's a tricky question though, because it depends a lot on where we're talking.
I was wondering that because from the projects that you showed us in class in IPAL 4, they were very different. And they had all this materiality. And I was wondering if that was just from the region, or was it that you guys, what you said, like pushing that envelope of exploration.
And a lot of it was adaptive reuse. So it kind of just came like that.
That makes sense.
So I'm like, what did we use? Well, we didn't use anything for some of them. That was like a saying that was said a lot. The most sustainable building is the one you never have to build.
Yeah. I feel like kind of jumping back to your earlier question about how it's hard to kind of figure out how to apply these sort of impacts to a place like here, for example. But I'm sure finding the clients and the donors that want to be part of that is even harder. Because we can't pay for all that by ourselves, so
we would love it.
If I was a millionaire, 100%, right? But it's more than just you wanting to do it. And, we do play a big role because we have the voice, we have to spread our voice. That's part of why we are doing this podcast, because everything we're talking about with you, we want other people to hear and be part of as well. But we're not the only piece of the puzzle, So,
I think that part, I feel at least it takes time to just learn what's happening, talk to different people. I feel like I was in a just like a pod of architecture for 4 years undergrad and 3.5 years. It was such a long time.
Yeah.
I remember like not seeing kids for a really long time. You know,
Yeah, you were just in college.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, like there's families that live here. It's like so much, you know, and my spouse is from here, so he has a different vision of the history of it. And it's, you know, South Florida is not that far away, so it feels like home.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not also from here, so but you know, we live here full time and just bought a house kind of in a right in the middle.
Nice.
Thanks.
It's hard right now.
It's really hard. Yeah. And it's probably never going to get easy. Yeah. Unfortunately. But just talking to neighbors, like the neighborhood we're in, it's called Audubon Park, and it's just such a naturey area. It's one of the eco villages. Lake Eola is also an eco village. So we're in like a migratory path of birds. And I had no idea that's why it was named Audubon, but our neighbors told us this, and just like the history and knowledge they have from living here for 40 plus years has been such a gift. Like we feel so honored to be here. So it's like an informal type of learning that I didn't expect to get. But I found people are just like so kind here, and generous with what they know and sharing it. Yeah. So there are good people, and people want good things. I think they just need to be like maybe in the same room more or something.
Yeah.
Something.
I think that's part of what Alex was saying, like with the new generations are coming with, you know, with different, you know, technology, the phones, the iPads, everyone's on the computer. And I think we've lost a lot of the talking person to person. And how she said before, like, this is part of the podcast, like, let's grab that platform and use it differently, because there's so many stories of so many people that I feel like get so lost in stories of the communities you're on, you know, cities. And I feel like the architecture world is so important just overall.
That's true.
I was curious about Mass. What about like engineering and like bringing in specialists and different, like, you know, areas? Do you guys do that, or you have engineers in house, or has?
Yeah. So we had a lot of, let me think about it. Maybe half of the company is based in Africa and Rwanda. Or essentially half of the company is in those kind of locations in the US. So the types of systems were entirely different. The materials, everything was really different. But I think that served us well, because they thought so local. Like, why would we bring in this crazy material that has nothing to do with this place? And so the first project of Mass was built by hand, like hand-laid stones that were waste. They were like volcanic rock of the Butaro region. And I think if you have that cross-cultural conversation going, the other culture is like, oh, what about this? And they're like, oh, no, that's not. Like, they don't think about it. That's a cool material. No, like, let's use it. So there was like that symbiotic thing going on. And consultants and structural engineers and things like that had that like filter and lens on some of the US projects. So we would do like crits essentially. And there is a really great structural engineer who works kind of between, and he would do like an analysis of the project and figure out. He was amazing. He would see you would say you can do this type of foundation, like let's say slab on grade, or you can do something up on stilts and have like a lighter touch, and you would save so much concrete. Or you can do a basement, I don't know, parking garage, let's say. Or you can do like service level parking and not dig that much with the basement. So he would do these, like, I would never think of doing that. Like analyzing the foundation, like how can that be that important? But it saves so much concrete, so much CO2, so much money. And I think I have never worked with an engineer here in the States that was like trying to make that level of effort.
Yeah.
It's hard to get consultants to submit things on time. So to ask them to do some level of like, sustainability analysis. Can we,
Yeah.
And I think that goes to say of the structures and systems, like the systems overseas a lot of times are a lot slower and things are intentional and like really beautiful. And there's more time for like discussion. And here it's like the last possible second, like get it out. And we're turning things over all the time. And and now I'm like, I didn't even see the consultant's drawing. Like what's happening? So there's like, it's hard to say it's one thing because it's in this web of decisions and networks and everything. But yeah, I forgot about how cool the engineers were.
I think like that's the conversations we have also because Valerie's brother is an engineer. So we talked to him about that. She talked to him a lot about that. But they were talking, I remember you guys were talking the one time about how architecture and structures just lost like their language. Like you see one thing over there and then the other thing doesn't speak to and it can be like more than that. And how you're saying, like, I feel we've lost that communication and that like collaboration. Like I feel in my job is a fight every time. So like you send me that, can you move the pipe? No. Okay, thank you. And the pipe goes for like a month. And then the PM. So what happened with the pipe? Like I feel like it's a battle of the who get the better. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's me. I don't know you guys.
I feel like because architecture used to be, we were the master builders. Like we we knew everything. But then now that it's beforehand, but now that it's so separated, it's nice because obviously now we have like our specialties, but at the same time, that communication could just completely gets lost. Like we can create these structures that, like what my brother and we were talking about, where the architecture and the structure is one language. Like that's how it was beforehand. Like instead of worrying that a column is going to go right in the middle of my open space, I spoke to the structural engineer and we're thinking about this whole design that creates this really cool open space without columns. Like those things that the afterthought, it's sad, honestly. But I would love for that to come back because I feel like that's the whole essence. Like structure and architecture are not two separate things. They become one if you know how to work with them.
You can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't put a building up without the structure and you can't just have an open building that's just structure.
Exactly.
We need each other.
Because it loses the joy in the process.
Exactly. It does.
And we have all this fun and design and everything, and then we're like,
boom.
man, we need to bring these columns, these engineers in here. Oh my god! But it's like, no, you should be excited to bring engineers. Talk about
from the beginning,
from early on, and see, okay, how can we, like you said, how can we make this work so that we can have, the best of both worlds here. We can have a good building, but also a beautiful building.
And structurally sound, but design very.
I know it's kind of sad to be in architecture because you notice these things in real life. I feel like whenever you see a fireproofed exposed structure, you're like, they did not talk to each other. That's sad.
Well, going back into the topic of the communities and that side, do you think like throughout your career and your experience, have you encountered like a community that you feel has changed, like the way you research a community or you experience a community or that you learn the most out of it? Do you feel you've had any experience with a specific community or no?
I feel like the first kind of the internship where I moved from home essentially to Poughkeepsie, I felt so like fish out of water and it was like not my community and everything. And then over time started to feel more and more kind of, I get their history. Like it did take a bit of me reading stuff from the library and like going to the local community art hub and stuff like that. Seeing like what the kids were making in school and like, popping into the little shops. And over time I'm like, there's a huge food community. There's a super diverse set of like cultures represented. And that was a project that we ended up trying to help a developer do, was a food hub. So it's like, okay, there's a need for, because there's also the Culinary Institute in Hudson Valley. So there's that support with the farm and the food. There's like that restaurant kind of connection. And so it's like, what do people need if they're trying to start up a food entity? And it's like a little spot that's a shared kitchen, for example. And so there was a bunch of people who would either rotate the kitchen or split it. And that helps with starting it up. And I think those things, like, no one would have known if you didn't talk to people and just kind of like get out there. And that's like everywhere. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from there or not from there. You can be like holed up in your house and you still could be from there and not know what's happening. And sometimes it's scary to know what's happening, like with the news and, you know, just, I don't know, sometimes COVID was scary time. So a lot of rioting and protests and things. We were kind of like close to the action at that time. So I don't know, but in general, it's always just helpful to know what people are going through. Like, and so, yeah, I think the way the community was and how they talked to each other and was aware of each other's needs was really like helpful. I think because I was an outsider, I was like, okay, like I'm looking for it. You know, here I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but I know what's happening, but I'm not paying attention really.
Right.
Yeah. So I think, you know, learned something different in every scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, like I had one of those moments when you said like, you question yourself and you question your purpose in life or purpose in this career. And I remember I was involved in the Catholic group at UCF.
Oh, okay. I met, right?
Yeah. That's how we met. Yeah. So I got to have the opportunity to go to Peru and help out to build a church over there with the missionaries. And a lot of them, you know, like don't speak Spanish. I was like the few of them that spoke Spanish, but a lot of the other missionaries, like students, didn't speak Spanish. So they were freaking out. How am I even going to communicate, you know, or there with these people are like, they native, they live in the forest. And this is like an area of Peru that's not like the city. This is like, you had to take a plane and then a mini plane to get into like the mini airport, you know? So for me, it was like, I'm already freaking out in the plane. And my parents didn't let me go. And I went, and it was like in that time of me questioning what is architecture? First, what is architecture?
Right.
Then what is architecture for me, for the, like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing with this? And why is it like so tiring? What? So me going over there and just seeing, first of all, everyone's Catholic, right? Nobody's an architect or nothing. But yeah. And the community, you know, they know their materials.
Yeah.
They know their community. They know their weather. They know all these things.
True.
And we're coming in and we're all coming together to build a church. For me, that was like, first, how do you tie architecture with religion? And how do you tie architecture with religion and the community as well? Like, it was like a whole week of experiencing people. And I remember like, I was so eager to be part of the church, but the church has a little annex as well in the project, which was like a little room with a bathroom. And so I was in that side. I've never been to the church.
Oh, yeah.
But I was in the bathroom area and I was like, man, I got the bathroom. But whatever. I was like, man, okay, I swear to you, like I painted like this with the roll for the whole week. Every morning with my friend, my Peruvian friend. And we would like paint. My arm hurted. Then I had to change to the next arm. And then I was like, you know, and you learn like how they treat the wood, how they do the cutting, how they put the, you know, how they do the paint, how they, everything. So being with them and understanding their culture and how they relate to as well their religion, they bring in God. So for me, that was architecture, how do I bring all these pieces together? You know? And that opened my mind. I came back and I was like, wow.
It gives you like a real insight too.
Yeah. And we would talk to them, you know, like we would try to bring in more helpers. So, hey, knocking on doors, do you want to come help build the church? Because we're all building, but at the same time, we're talking about God, like, so, and they invite us to like eat at their houses. So we learn about their food as well. And so everything's connected. And for me, it was like, I realized, wow, architecture is more than just what I thought it was.
That sounds like a beautiful picture of what it can be and what it should be more of.
It was tough. I mean, we had to wake up every day at 5 in the morning, shower with a bucket of cold water from the river almost. It was,
But then you understand.
But then it's like,
fine for the construction. Construction work is hard. Like that's kind of like the same thing that you were doing. And then you understand how the building gets put together and the details. Like, and sometimes I'm drawing details. I'm like, man, details are boring to me. They're really boring. But for you, maybe you're like, well, I was sitting next to this person. They held the paint for me for a second. And then you know, like the context of what is it like to build it really. That's cool.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that you're in the middle of the jungle and then you see how they build. They they create these tools that with this rope, and I was like,
they're
wow.
innovative.
And we're over here, fighting for the pipe. Like in my head, like it doesn't, like why? Like there's more, there's more. And I think it's just how much, it depends on the person. Not everyone's the same, right? There's people that want to help more and teach more and mentor more. But I think it really depends how much you want to put yourself out there, how much you want to learn from the other one. It can be the community, how much I want to learn from them. I want to learn from the engineers, how are you saying, like, it's all these dots that are connected.
I feel like I'm remembering how important the purpose of a project is. Like at Mass, we did a lot of early on systems thinking. What, like in a perfect world, how do you measure success? What does success mean to you? And a lot of times now, a lot of the projects I'm on, it's saving money and being on time and having no comments in the code review, like whatever the case may be. But I think like in the kind of conclusion of a project, if you're not understanding the goal, like a church in Peru in a rural community, it's not efficiency. Like it's not in budget and timeline. It's like connectivity and prayer and like the process and the handprint of like everyone who's painted and built. And I think in the economy we're in, time and money are just like top priority.
And efficiency.
And you can look around and say, okay, everything's tilt wall. Like it's gonna look like this, and tilt wall is in a school and tilt wall is in a warehouse.
It's so sad.
Like this is the absolute minimal effort of design because of cost and cost and timeline. So that's tough. And I think that goes back to how do we advocate better? It's not that we're not able to design something beautiful. It's we don't have time, and it's not the goal. So the talking to the structural engineer about the pipe is like, what's the actual issue? Like, what are we talking about?
And you know what the issue was? I can tell you right now, the cost.
Oh my God.
I was like, are we really?
And everyone just strapped for time. So as much as we can push for the goal being bigger, like make the goal bigger than what it is. Like, we want the best, school in the district. Okay, how about we attract the best teachers and we do this and we show the school board in, like New York and Texas, how we're doing this model that serves the community and has more time for play, more outside space, more whatever, do our own research. And then people will be like, oh, like let's share ideas across boundaries of state lines and political lines. So sometimes like make it big instead of like, where's the place to put the tilt wall up on the site? I don't know. It's tricky, but you gotta have a balance too. Like you gotta pay the bills too, right? I feel like this is why we will probably miss school once we're all officially a permit, because we don't get to freely design with some
No budget.
without having to think about budget, politics, all this stuff, because then that's why everything gets PE'd, halfway through the project.
Or that's a good point. It's also like, what is the purpose of school? Like, what are we trying to do?
Push those boundaries, hopefully.
Yeah. And like what you're doing now, like share what you've learned, share the like tensions.
Yeah.
You're not just like, oh, everything's perfect, we're ready for the real world. And like, no, there's issues.
Yeah.
And you have time to get into them and like make them known in the discipline. Yeah.
And I think it's important as well, like to put yourself out there, to talk to your communities and just talk to your peers, like what are you guys doing in your farm?
Yeah.
How are you solving the pipe?
Yep.
Like people don't talk about so many things.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And you learn, like we've learned, like in this podcast so much that it's not even like just by listening to other
Yeah. You guys have probably learned so much. About everything.
I have.
I hope our listeners have too. I mean, that's
That's the goal.
That's the goal, really. We've said many times that one of the things that we love about this field is all the different things that you can do with it. I mean, food systems. I would have never thought in my life, going into architecture school, architecture profession, that I could think about food systems in architecture. Like, I mean, that's the cool thing about seeing all this thesis work is everybody is taking their own interest and turning it into an architectural project. I mean, there's so much range that this field has, and it sucks because we're so constricted to, again, budget, time, politics, all these things that it's so hard for us to push those boundaries to be able to do these cool things that we study and provide these things to the people that our, analysis is aiming for. But that's not to get discouraged, right? I mean, the only way for us to get there is to push, and to spread the word, because the more voices that are asking for this thing, the better of a chance we can accomplish that.
Yeah. And I do think like there is a time for one and a time for another. Yeah. So there's, I don't know, when you're in school, you have just so much freedom and imagination. And like, as much as you can nurture the imagination and the curiosity and like feed that and talk to each other, that is so awesome. In my own life, I've found I do not know how to detail a building. And I'm like, okay, like the fun time is pause. I need to finish licensure and, really make sure I know how to do this. Because architecture is so like vast. And that's, you can do so much in it. Like that's the good part.
That's the problem too.
Part is like, so it's, I don't know. I think there will be sometimes you have like a boring project. Like you might, not like it, but there is so much to learn from the process of doing it. Yeah. And then you can take what you learn and be like, how can we challenge like this piece of it now that we know how it works, and continue on with our life and just continue to like be a little bit better each time. So I think just accepting that you're in the one time and not the other, and that next piece will come later, is something I've had to sort of tell myself, like, it's all towards the same goal, essentially. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And it is acceptable. I mean, and you need to go baby steps. And like, I was telling Alex today, actually, I was like, we were talking, I was handing her over something, and I was like, well, and I wanted to do this and this and this. But like, I got to do this, but I got to do something that was better than what it was before. So I think like, it's true. And I was telling her, just leave it better than how it was given to you. Or provide like your little drop to it. Which eventually will be a glass of water,
Okay. I like that. Yeah, it's a great analogy.
I'm inspired today. Not every day. But I think we want to ask you, what would be like an advice? Like if right now you only can give one advice, your final advice ever, what would it be? For
my final advice ever.
This is the last word you can give. The last word you can speak. But for people, either mainly for people starting the career or people, you know, struggling in the career, anything. It can be about architecture. It can be about life, you know.
Yeah. Well, feels very intense now. The last advice I'll ever give. I'll say a simple one.
Okay, yes.
Simple's good.
We like it.
Is just stay curious. Stay like so open to what you're learning. You're never going to know everything about architecture or anything. So stay curious. And I think what you were saying before about your thesis and wanting to do something, and everyone's like, why are you going to do that? That's not going to work. Like, no. I think stay curious about even understanding what makes them think that it's not going to work, because that will help to guide the constraints around it. So I don't know. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with how much I don't know.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
And that's part of the drop in the cup. Like every day, let's learn a little bit. And you'll learn naturally too, you know? And I think over time, you'll be able to share, and as much as you can learn and also share. I think you will be in a good spot. So always have someone to look up to and someone to share with as well.
I like that.
I really do like that.
I like that because I feel like we lose that. Like, who are we sharing it to, you know?
Yeah. That's what this is for, right? We're sharing with
like almost like reliving what you've been through.
How do you pass it on? Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
See, simple, but
On it.
I would say this was like a gift to me, because now I'm like, this is what is happening. You know, this is what happened. It's a good retrospect. And hopefully people who are listening, I don't know, will know, like, not every moment you'll be like, oh, I'm the best, I'm on the right track. Like, everyone has doubts. And I think a lot of people have doubts, but don't tell people they have doubts. So, and the more you're open about it, and I guess vulnerable in the field, especially being women, that's tough times, then there will be just a lot more like love and support along the way. It's hard.
Okay, now we have a question from the previous guest to you.
Oh, okay.
If architecture would not have been your career path, what would have been your backup plan?
Oh, definitely culinary.
She said
I thought so.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, that's why I do my spare time is watch cooking shows.
That's great.
I love
that.
On my honeymoon, literally, you guys, me and my husband would go back to our room and just put on a cooking channel and just watch that. Literally, I love it. The creativity is insane. I think we talked about this with Baldwin, right? The creativity is insane. How I cannot understand, it's my brain, because I'm not a chef, right? I can understand how you can come into this room not knowing anything of what's going to happen, right? Be handed a basket of random, and I'm not talking about, oh, this is broccoli and potatoes. It's like all these fruits and vegetables that are not at your local Publix, you know what I'm saying? And you can just magically whip up this 3-course meal.
I cannot.
Like, the first challenge is knowing what these vegetables are.
Already.
The second challenge is how to cook them. The third challenge is a whole good yummy recipe. Like, I can. So I agree. I
love watching it.
I love watching it, because you just never know, like, what you're going to expect. Seeing the challenges that they go through, like how they progress through, like, you know, first challenge, second challenge. I don't know how much cooking show. I've watched a lot.
And sometimes when they fail, they save it and do something different. That for me is saying,
that's true.
Oh, my sauce, whatever. And then they do something else. Like, what?
And like, it's insane. The creativity.
All under a time crunch. Which
and that kills me.
That's the hardest part.
I'm like 60 looking at the clock, and I'm like, are they ever going to finish?
And you're like, that's how that tastes. No, you don't have time for that.
No. You don't have time to 1 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons. Like, you don't have time to do that.
But give me the teaspoon.
I got to measure everything out. Like, no, you cannot do that.
That's great.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's really similar.
In another life.
Would you guys what would your backup be? I'm throwing the question to you.
I would go into psychology. My parents are psychologists, and if I was not doing this, I would be doing it. I love psychology. Everything about why people are this way.
Yeah.
I had a huge phase of true crime stuff, true crime, anything, shows, documentaries, podcasts, the whole thing. And I've since taken a break because it's very emotionally intense, you know, and mentally intense. But the psychology of that, of like what makes, not the only, but like what makes somebody crazy, what makes somebody want to do these things. And then you have no idea this person was even capable, like, that kind of psychology is crazy interesting to me. And to that extreme and to the other extreme of like, you know, looking at a child's development and seeing how smart. I mean, my niece was like bilingual for like the first part of her life where she started going to school and like really only speaking English. And it's just like, how can this child just so naturally comprehend 2 different languages, but she can't even pronounce like things perfectly, but she understands. She can be spoken to in 2 different languages and understand completely what you're saying. That kind of psychology too. Like, that's what interesting. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's cool.
What about you, Valerie?
I would say photography.
I knew it. I didn't know yours, but
I don't think I know yours.
But
also,
but also going back to like culinary, pastry chef.
Valerie, I could see Valerie
as
little Italian
exactly
pastry.
Yeah.
Because I would watch cooking shows, but I would also watch like Cupcake Wars.
Yes.
Those are so fun. And I would, since I was little, I would love to just decorate cakes. Whenever there would be a birthday, I'd be like, I'll pick the cake. And then I would make the cake, and then I would make these like things. And I feel like that's one of the hobbies that I might go back to now that
Yes, because Valerie did our cookies for the Christmas show.
Oh yeah.
And she decorated them too.
So yeah, I do love decorating, and then that creative aspect on like in a smaller scale. And you get the reward a little bit faster.
Wait, I have another plan C. Because Valerie said something that triggered my mind. I love interior design of homes. So if I could have a job that was you hiring me to pick out furniture for your house and decorate your house, I would love to do that. That's my plan C though. Maybe B.
What about you, Buddy?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I like when I moved out of my parents' house and moved to my apartment, my most exciting thing was not even the quote unquote freedom that you have, but being able to go. I mean, you could ask my husband. I had furniture bought like 6 months before we were moving in. Like all my furniture was bought before I moved in, you guys. And I already had the vision up.
I mean, your apartment is really nice.
Yes. They've seen my apartment, right? But thank you, Valerie. But I just love thinking about how can I make this gray box a home and personable to me and my family.
Exactly.
I love it's all like connected for sure. Yeah. And there's a little bit of psychology in there too.
In everything, actually.
Yeah, there is in everything. Yeah.
What about you, Buddy?
Okay, I'm a singer.
What? Seriously?
You know what? Have you ever really paid attention when she's singing?
You sing
she
really well.
I've never said that. I didn't want you to get shy,
Me
even though
either.
you're not the type to get shy. I know.
No, but for that, I get shy.
I will hear her sing, like we're in the car or doing, I don't know, studying
Or
something.
like, here, just listening to music, and you sing well.
Really good.
When I start getting comfortable, I start like letting loose. But
You sing really good.
But for me, it's like, you know, like when I go to church, I love like just singing in church. And then when I go to a concert, like for me, like music, just I will be like a musician, I think.
Yeah.
Have my band or something.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, let's do this because I want to learn piano after I graduate. So I'll learn piano. Okay, you know guitar.
The band.
Yeah. Well, I'll be a singer, and Valerie, you need to have a
I like
too.
piano too, though.
Valerie with the cookies.
Fine, Valerie can do piano, and I'll do guitar because I want to learn guitar. So
But we can do piano too.
yeah, but you can't have 2 pianos in a band.
Well, I don't know.
We can
One
do
electric one. Yeah, I don't know.
A keyboard and then the natural.
No, I don't like a keyboard.
Well, this was fun.
This was
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
Very
I got to know
interesting.
you now.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
Thank you for being here with us and for all your insightful knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love everything you said about community, people, you know, trying to put yourself out there, still curious. So
We could have this conversation for like 3 hours.
A lot to learn. I mean, like, we just all have different experiences. I don't know more than the next person, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, now I want to know everyone's story. Like, so thanks for having me.